Welcome back to Maine Tiny Homestead. Today I wanted to show you how I'm drying the onions. I had to pull a batch last week and I had to pull more today. So let me show you how I'm drying them. Here's my makeshift little setup that I use to dry my onions. I also use it to dry the garlic. I already dried out the garlic and I just put them in this basket. I'm going to hang those in bundles next. But right now I'm focusing on the onions. This side over here on the left has been drying since last week. And you might be able to tell the dirt looks a little bit drier than the new dirt from the ones I just put on here. And the ones that came in last week, still very wet. This summer has just been pretty brutal for everything. So all I'm doing here is I'm just lifting it off the ground. If you had a table, you could use a table too. That would work perfectly fine. But still do this setup off the table because you need air circulating all around it, right? So I have a little fan that blows in the other room and it kind of comes around here every once in a while and that will circulate air underneath. You don't even need to do that as long as it has open airflow and you don't really have anything touching anything. What we're trying to do is allow space around each plant so it can dry out. And what I do is I don't cut the roots and I don't touch anything on the greens. I just leave it as I pulled them. And by doing that, you can just let the whole thing dry out. And then once they'll dry, we'll take that first layer of skin off with all the dirt and trim them up so that we can store them. But for now, they got to dry a few weeks. They might even take longer than they're supposed to because this summer has been so wet. I'm kind of pulling a few every day. I have, I don't know, maybe 15 left or so, if that. And we're getting more rain. So I'm trying to stay ahead of it so they don't start rotting. Because what happens when I pulled one of these today, it was one that was already rotting. And I noticed there was a little worm on it. So the bugs are just vicious this year and savages. And they are out to get you. So if you leave anything that's vulnerable, they're going to get it. So just wanted to pop on quick and show you this is my setup for drying my onions or drying my garlic or anything else that needs to dry inside the house where it's not getting wet. I do it down here in my basement so it's out of the way. Just elevating it off the ground so you got airflow. This is an old window screen, and these are just extra pieces of wood we had laying around from a little construction project we did earlier. So it's very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just give them a space to dry. Try not to have them touching each other. I might even move these greens away from each other so nothing's overlapping, more like it is on this side. So I might rearrange this and just put them all on the edges here. But the basic thing is you're just trying to let everything dry out before you are going to put them in long-term storage. The other thing about onions is you don't have to cure them or dry them to use them. I could peel the skins off right now and use these onions. I did last week and had 2 of them in one of my stir-fry dishes. And I'll tell you, a fresh onion is very, very different. I've never had a fresh onion. I've never grown my own big enough to even peel. Had multiple years of failures before. But it's very easy to put your knife go through it. It's not like a regular onion where it makes the noise, squeezing through it with your knife. Very smooth and very mild tasting onion and absolutely delicious. So this is a great way to dry out your vegetables. Thanks for always watching Maine Tiny Homestead.